Welcome to the Songwriter Connection, the podcast that delves deep into the art and heart of songwriting. Each week, we gather around the dining room table to uncover the stories behind the songs. We invite you to join us on a journey to the creative minds of the songwriters who shape the melodies of our lives. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
Well, if you're listening on the morning that it comes out, this is episode 199. It is March the 12th, a Wednesday, and we've got a very special guest. You know, there are a lot of podcasts out there, and they're popping up everywhere, and I love it because podcasting is going crazy. People are listening to podcasts everywhere, and even especially on YouTube, I'm seeing a lot of YouTube video podcasts popping up, and that's really cool. And people have asked me in the past, do you ever think about putting this as a video podcast? And I thought about it for a really long time, long and hard about it, and I finally decided that, nah. You know, I'm a radio guy. I've always been about the audio. And think about this for a second. When you're listening to music, and I'm not talking about at a concert, I'm not talking about watching a video. With your headphones on or not, you're just listening to music and you're enjoying it, and it's happening between your ears. I think it's much more powerful that way. It takes you places you've never been, or brings you back to memories or things that can be. And when you're doing things, just listening to audio, it's not commanding all of your super attention. I mean, you could be working around the house. You could be cutting the grass, working in the yard, planting your garden, whatever, and you're enjoying that sound as you go, right? Yeah. So that's what I was after. We started this podcast in 2021 in January, and as of this week, 1,700,000 plus streams worldwide.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Next week is episode number 200. It's a milestone. I have got a Hall of Fame songwriter that you are not going to believe next week, but I'm even more excited about today's guest. Let me set this. She's been with us before. It's been about a year. We started on this time a year ago, and let me set the stage for you. Jelly Rolls. I mean, he's hot as can be. He's at a concert, Jacksonville, I do believe, right? Jacksonville, and if you've seen his concert, maybe you haven't, but let me just set the stage. Whitsett Chapel is the name of his record, and it's like this chapel's like hanging above his head, and it's on fire. You know, it's all on fire, and then all of a sudden he steps out, and then rain starts pouring down. Wait, what a set! And he steps into that circle, and he starts singing "Save Me." What a great song! And on that specific night in Jacksonville, this happened. That you got the scene. Put it in your head. That spectacular voice is my guest today. Welcome back, Allie Colleen. Hi, Allie. How are you?
That water was so cold, dude.
That was going to be my first question.
That water was so cold, and I would stand in that water for the rest of my life.
Because it didn't matter. You weren't feeling anything but elation, were you?
Dude, nothing mattered.
Oh, my goodness. How about that?
That was the coolest thing. That was the last of our 20 cities.
Was it really?
So he told me all tour, he said, hey, the last city we'll do Save Me in the Rain. Oh, man. So I didn't watch it, man. All tour.
All tour?
I never saw the ending song. All tour. I never saw it because I was going to experience it when I sang it.
And that's crazy. Good.
It was crazy.
That is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea how it worked. They're like, well, you've seen the show. The water's going to come down. I said, no, I'm going to make it very clear. I have not. I do not know what is about to happen. I need you to walk me through it because I'm so excited.
So you weren't expecting to get rained on?
Well, no, I knew it was in the rain because he told me all tour, we're going to do Save Me in the Rain. Like I knew what happened. Like I know that he does it on the backstage in the rain. I knew it, but I'd never seen it.
Wow.
And I hadn't watched it one time because I wanted to experience it for myself and also perform it, and it was the craziest thing.
I'll bet. It's probably a good thing it was the last song because you get off stage and get warm again, right?
It was crazy. He instantly got on a golf cart, which took him back to a warm space. And I remember looking around like, where's my golf cart?
Yeah.
And I beat that golf cart back to the buses. I beat every golf cart back. I ran so fast. I was so cold.
God, I'll bet.
And I still have my outfit hanging up at home. Oh. It's exactly like, like when you hang your clothes up after being in a pool or something. They're kind of stand up on their own the next day. Yeah. My entire outfit is just sitting there exactly how I took it off, on my hanger, just as it is. I don't even know if I'll ever wear it again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's one of those things you just got to hang on to.
Yeah.
What a big break for you. On tour with Jelly Roll. Man, how was that?
It was crazy. We learned a lot.
Did you?
We learned a lot. It was incredible. It was an amazing opportunity. It was myself and Shabuzi and Ernest.
Ernest
and
Shabuzi.
Jelly.
Ernest with all caps, right? So
Yes.
Ernest all caps. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And getting a little tipsy with Shabuzi.
Yeah. It was crazy. It was so much fun. We learned just as much that we didn't want to learn as like really new cool things that were really fun to learn. Man, it was. I wouldn't say it was just as hard as it was fun because it was so much fun.
Yeah, I bet it was.
But man, it was a learning experience. And ever since we've got back, we've all just been sitting here like, what are we doing? When do we get to go again?
I bet you can't wait.
Man.
You got things coming up this year?
We've been lucky enough to do, we've been lucky enough to do headlining stuff since, which has been very cool and very kind.
That's great.
We just recently did a run up north so we started off last year on the Lee Brice tour. That was
I
just me and
remember
Lee.
Last time you were here,
Right.
you were just getting ready to embark.
Yeah.
And that single came
so
out.
That was all acoustic,
Yeah.
and that was crazy cool. But we just recently got to go back up at the beginning of this month and like replay those areas for the first time just as a headliner.
Great.
So to get to see those people come back to those shows was really, really cool. And we hope that it's the same thing when we get to go and play all the cities that we hit on the Jelly tour. We're hoping that we have a lot of new people, a lot of new people with us. But man, it's been wild.
Such a big step for you, isn't it? Just great.
A huge step. A huge step.
Yeah.
And we've been very, very lucky with very consistent, gradual growth.
Yeah.
And I really thought the tour was going to be our first boom. And I was surprised, man, when it wasn't. You know, I was really surprised when it wasn't a boom. It wasn't some kind of like every single show, it wasn't thousands of followers. You know what I mean? It was never a boom, but it was all very intentional.
Yeah.
You know, and the followers we got were the people that came to spend time in our merch line and were the people that came to spend a little extra time with us. So it wasn't a big boom, but again, we've been so grateful to just really grow gradually and to have people grow with us. So again, it's just been really, really cool to see, how it's came about.
I am so proud of you in the fact that, I'm searching this video today because I really wanted to see it again. And I saw on your socials and stuff, you have the pictures of you in the rain, and they're just fantastic photos. But I was like, on YouTube, pardon me for asking it, but on the YouTube it says Jelly Roll with Allie Colleen, Garth's daughter. And I'm like, I bet you she didn't approve that,
I don't even know what the video's on, to be honest with you, Dave. I'm not sure what video you're looking at.
I was looking at YouTube, on YouTube.
I understand that. I mean channel-wise. Like,
I don't even know.
I don't know if it was a fan who took that
could
video.
have been.
You know
It
what I
might have
mean?
been,
Because if it's my video that's on my socials and stuff, somebody
Yeah.
just took it off my socials and put it on YouTube, you know?
I remember hearing an interview with you in Bobby Bones, and you talked about that. There's a reason why you separate. And then I won't go any farther. You can just say
that's
it.
okay.
And that's all we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was raised by 3 really, really incredible
You were,
parents,
yeah.
and it's so often, social media and culture and news and even if it wasn't social media back then, right? Like news outlets, whatever it was, everyone thinks that they know my parents, because they're fans of them.
Yeah.
I cannot explain enough to people that, Garth did not raise me. My dad raised me. They're different people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why we keep it separate, because I tell a story about my dad and you're seeing Garth. When they're just not the same person, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the same as Allie Colleen all the time. My sisters obviously get a much different version of me than my fans do. And
Right.
you're different people.
You are.
And so that's the only reason we separate it, because I am a daughter of 3 amazing parents.
Three
you know what I mean?
amazing
And that's
parents.
what I would like people to know about me.
Yeah.
And not just know my dad's name. You know what I mean? And think that you know him and think you know something about me.
I love that, and I admire you for that. I really do. I mean,
Thank you.
You're making it on your own, and you're working hard. Man, you're a hard worker.
We are working hard.
Oh,
We're
writing,
working.
performing, getting out there on the road. Man.
It pays off though, man. It really does. We had a couple moments this last run where every single show had its magical moment. And I was lucky enough for them to all be with young girls on this last trip. So on this last trip, we had a couple girls. We had Gracie. We had Lola and Bethany. We had Olivia came, which was crazy, and Haley came, which was crazy.
Wow.
And 2 of those names are people who have followed me for a long time that I've got to have interactions with, and the other 3 were brand new little babies that I got to meet.
Oh my goodness.
One of them kind of looked like me, which I thought was crazy. She wore 2 different colored shoes for me. And she had her little press-on tattoos everywhere.
Oh my!
And
Including the lightning
crazy.
bug.
Yes, and the bug. It's funny that the temporary tattoo that we have for my bug.
Oh, do you have that in your
We
merch?
have a temporary tattoo
love
for it,
that.
but it's the size of like your wrist or something.
Yeah.
But when a 9-year-old puts it on her neck, it's the size of her neck, and it's crazy. And I just have 9-year-olds running around with little neck tattoos, which was cool on the Jelly tour because there was a lot of kids in my line that had his face
I
tattoos
hope you
on.
have pictures of that.
I do.
That's so cool.
And there was a little boy, I'll never forget him. His name was Carter, and he came through the line, and he had all of Jelly's face tattoos on it.
Did he really?
And I had been adding my horseshoe to little girls all night who wanted my face tat.
What was that new since
And
I've
so
last seen you? The heart.
I've been
horseshoe?
drawing it on for years.
For years,
Yeah,
okay, but now it's-
I've drawn it on for every show, and as soon as Halos and Horns hit 1 million streams, I got to go get my face tat.
There
We
you
hit
go.
1 million streams on Friday the 13th. Of course we did, in September. So
Of
I got
course.
to go and get my face tat. But all that to say, this little boy came through. His name is Carter, and he had already had all of his Jelly tattoos on, and he said, can I just give you one? I said, sure, buddy. And I'm using eyeliner all night. This kid pulls a Sharpie out of his back pocket and he puts a big C on my cheek. I said, thank you, man. Heck yeah.
And he's like, I gave Allie a tattoo.
so many memories with so many babies,
Oh,
man. You know
man.
what I mean? If any
I
of you
bet.
babies hear this, I know you're big men. I know you're like 13. I know you're big dudes. But I'm just saying, man, just babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's so cool. That's awesome. And so you've really grown your fan base in the last, but more than the last, but since I've last seen you.
We
It's
really
probably-
tried to. I think Jelly was a really big young fan base for
Yeah,
us. You know,
yeah.
because a lot of my fan base, they do follow over from
Yeah.
my family. You know, I have a much older fan base, you know, because a lot of people do find us for those reasons. And I love those people who stay for Allie anyway. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jelly was an introduction to us to a young fan base that we've been looking for.
What's he like to work with? You know, he just seems like the greatest guy to me. I've always been very much a fan of what he's done and
So
what he's
kind.
doing.
So
he just
kind.
seems to be. Yeah.
You know, and we put out a song called Halos and Horns in 2022
I remember it.
in May.
Yep.
And Jelly popped off commercially in June of 2022. He's been
Son
huge
of a sinner,
forever.
right?
You know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
had-
But it wasn't until he was recognized, you know, by commercial country music that he popped off, like in a radio way. So all of that to say, he sent me a DM before that in May. I'll never forget it. He sent the DM June 6th, and he had heard Halos and Horns on the Bobby Bones Show.
Great.
And he said, hey, man, I'm old. I don't know who you are. I heard Halos and Horns today, and, like, we need to work together. Like, this is so cool.
Wow.
And I thought, of all the accounts to get hacked, Jelly Roll seems like a really inconvenient one. Like, how many other little artists did they message that day promising them the world? You know what I mean? What the case was.
But that goes on, you know it.
And
I
it
hate
was him.
Yeah, and it was really
It was him. He meant it. And for 2 years, it was just, I got you, man. Like, I got you. And I was like, I don't know what that means, sir. And you also don't owe me anything. So it's okay. Like, it's okay.
Isn't
I
that
just
cool?
really want to collab. But if we can't, it's okay. And then I'll never forget the day that Bev called me about the last 20 cities of the Jelly Tour. And he said, I told you, I got you, man. And I said, I never thought it would be like that.
Bev is sitting here with us today. She's a great promoter, kind of your manager, huh?
Yes, Bev does everything with me.
That's awesome. It's wonderful. Good to have you here, Bev. Always good to see you. Amazing. So let me ask you, did you get to write with Jelly on the road?
We never get to ride on the road. It was funny. I couldn't figure out why I never saw him. And then I think three or four shows in, we saw like, I feel like CMT or somebody posted an interview with him where they're like, tell us about your day of show. And he was like, well, I wake up around 3 and then we do our workouts and then maybe we eat lunch or something around 5. Mind you, I go on stage at 6:30, Dave. He wasn't even there. You know what I mean? So I never got to work with him while we were there, but every single night he allowed me to sing with him. So every night I
Isn't
did the
that
Jesse
great?
Murph duet.
Awesome.
So I sang Wild Ones every night until
Every
the
night.
last city where I got to do Save Me.
Oh, that's so great. Allie, what a great experience.
Yeah, he was incredible.
Yeah. You know, life on the road is tough. People will think about it. It's kind of rough, isn't it?
Yeah, they act like, you act like it's a big party, and it definitely can be, but I don't know how it was back in the day.
Yeah.
But I know back in the day you had media maybe 2 or 3 times a day, and then you were good, and then you had your show.
Oh, yeah.
We're followed with cameras all night now.
All the time.
You know what I mean? So for me personally, I've never been comfortable with like really letting loose and like, so it's like you really do work all the time.
All the time. You got to be
And-
on
and
all
it's
the
such an
time today.
honor,
It's not
but-
just
but
cameras,
yeah.
but phones.
Exactly.
Camera phones and
exactly.
things. Yeah.
And those kind of things. And everyone's always looking to make somebody a bad guy too. So
Oh,
like as
that's
far as like
true.
filming you after show and like those kind of things, no one just wants you to just have fun. So
Always
it's
on your
such a
guard.
rock star thing, but I can't explain enough how different it is, and I think people imagine it to be. but it's so cool, dude. I'd take it over anything.
Yeah. You know, Allie, I see you like to work. You're into fitness. You like
Yes,
to work out a lot.
I
And
love
Jelly's
to.
been doing a lot of that today.
He
You say he
has.
get up and he works out.
Him and Bunny look very good.
They look good.
They
huh?
look great.
Yeah, he's
They
lost
look
a lot of
healthy.
weight, hasn't he?
And that's
Good.
all we care about is they look healthy.
He changed his name to like Lettuce Wrap or
I
something.
know, Lil
Crazy.
Roll.
Lil Roll. Hi, there we go. Lil Roll I like.
Yes, but no, I do love that they look healthy. And
Good.
I think especially with Jelly, everyone gets so obsessed with the numbers and the weight loss. But again, I cannot stress to you guys enough, if you're listening to this, we want to be healthy.
Yes.
That's what
do.
we want you to be. We want you to be healthy.
I want you to be. Yeah. You've got a brand new EP out, and I can't stop listening to it. It really is great.
You love it?
Yeah, I really do.
Do you have a
Sincerely
favorite?
Rolling Stone. Well, I think I was just listening to Nicotine this morning, and I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool. And two of the writers on that along with you.
Yeah. You know Megan and Lockwood?
Lockwood, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great people.
Yes.
And I know Lockwood a little bit more than Megan, but I've certainly seen her
Yeah.
perform in rounds and things. But it's a
Yeah.
great song. And you know, what's your favorite? That's what I want to know. Is there one that really, you know, like last time you were here, you were talking about the Lee Brice song
Yeah.
that you did, and you were talking about how it was a gut punch because you were
Yeah.
going through something so rough in your life at that time. Is there anything like this on that CD? Or are they all like that?
They're kind of all like that.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone goes back as far as 2021.
Does it
I wrote
really?
that song in 2021. Maybe just after I wrote the Lee song, because I remember Lee and I wrote that song in February of 2021.
Wow, we're still friends.
And
Great
so
song.
I'll
Listen
never
to it.
forget, we, you know, I've always tried to find a way to make this story short, but I can't. So short story long. We
like
were
that too.
doing short story long. That's all my stories.
That's all my
We were
stories.
doing a run in 2021. It was one of the first times that we got to go back out in
Mm-hmm.
public. You know what I mean, and perform for people. And we were doing a run through Wisconsin, and we played Watertown, and we had the opportunity to open for Love and Theft.
Oh, great.
And Eric and Steven were so kind to us. And it was at an RV park, but like a nice RV park.
Yeah?
I've never seen a nice RV park. This one had its own like pond with its own inflatable obstacle course on it. Like it was crazy. So it was very cool. But there was a pediatric hospital that was a big, big part of the show in the sponsorship world. So all the nurses came that were a part of it, you know, and everyone who had really worked all year on promoting the show. And 2021, it could not have been more obvious to us when we hit the road that nothing was about us. You know, we were playing fairs and festivals, and the only reason people came out was because they got to see each other again. You know what I mean? Like we were just background music. They didn't even know who was on the bill. They just showed up to see each other.
Yeah.
And that was incredible to get to see people again. And to get to see people come up, whether masks or not, whatever they were comfortable in, was really, really cool. And after the show, usually we drink too much and we talk too much and we tell a bunch of stories. And I tell you, I won't tell anybody. I go tell everybody. It's so much fun. And we come back a little lighter than I left. I throw all my baggage on the people that want to talk to me after show. You know what I mean? And I come back a little lighter. And I'm like, this is a good gig. I love this. That show, it could not have been more opposite. You know, all of those nurses all year had lost babies, nonetheless, of losing patients and people. So they had lost babies, and a couple of them had lost their own babies, and everybody was grieving also. And it was really hard. And it was the first time that everyone got drunk after show and just dumped on you. You know what I mean? And we were so honored. That's what we're for. Like, that's what we're built for, is to be dumped on. Like, that's what we're made for. But it was so heavy going home. And so we went straight home when I wrote Rolling Stone. And Rolling Stone could not be more about the audience. I think sometimes people think it's a love song or something, but I can't explain enough that is about you guys.
About you guys.
Rolling Stone will always be about you guys. And
So-
and that's my little baby, I think.
Okay. I want you to play it. I want to hear it. First thing I thought of Rolling Stone was the magazine. You know, does
Right.
it have anything to do with that? But to you, it means something else.
Well, it lands on, I want to be your rock, and I'm sorry that I'm not. Sincerely, your Rolling Stone. So like I want to be your rock star. You know what I mean? Like I want to be your holy grail of like musicians and all those things, and I want to be the hero that you want me to be.
There
You know,
it is.
so many women come up to my shows thinking that I'm confident 24/7. You know what I mean? And thinking that like I'm that guy.
Yeah.
And for you, baby, I will be. Absolutely. There's not an insecurity on the planet when it comes to me in front of you, because you can't see that, you know? And so Rolling Stone means the world to me, because I've never had a relationship that feels like these people that come and see the shows.
Wow. Incredible. Very strong. Co-writers on this song?
The co-writers on Rolling Stone are myself and Stephen Hunley and Eric Dodd and Connor Sweet. And so Eric and Stephen and I are kind of like that dream team. We're also on Household Name. We're on Halos and Horns.
Yeah.
We're on All My Babies.
Yeah.
So
We've said this in the past.
that.
If you find a team, keep it. If that magic's happening, you've got to keep that going. You just never know, what's going to land.
I absolutely.
So you brought this idea to them and go, this is
so I came home and I said, it's got to land on I Want to Be a Rock, and I'm sorry that I'm not. Like, sincerely, you're Rolling Stone. And because I just, so many times people get through, like.
Yeah, you set it up perfect.
Thank you. Because I come to the show to be taken care of. Everyone thinks that, like, I come here for you. No, you guys came here for me, and I'm here for you. And, like, it's going to be so much fun. And just every now and then, you come home a little heavy, and it's so cool. So Rolling Stone is my oldest baby. Household Name is the first time that I've got to write about that aspect of my life, and really recognize him for the artist that he is. So Household Name is the first time that Allie got to write a dad song that also stands on its own in the sense of Allie Colleen will also be a household name one day. You know what I mean? But only because of the household name that it came from, in the sense of me getting to grow up and see my dad work the way that he did. So many people think that we try and separate ourselves, as we talked about in the beginning. But I just can't. I don't think people understand enough. I want to be just like my dad. And my dad came from the youngest of 6 kids in a very, very financially poor family, and made himself into everything that he is off of his own merit. And I want to be just like my dad. You know what I mean? I want to make myself a household name off my own merit and off of my work ethic and off of how much I care about my songwriting. And those are all ways that I'm just like my dad. And every other way, I don't feel like people have ever recognized that, in the sense of they think that I have a famous parent who's just going to put me on the radio or something. And I'm like, you don't understand. I don't sing under that name because I want to earn mine just like he did.
That's why we love you.
And so Household Name is my
Not that we
baby.
don't love your dad, but we love you.
Thank you. Household Name is my baby. I listened to 47 minutes of Thunder pre-roll to pick a second and a half of Thunder.
Will you play it for us?
I don't know how.
You don't know how? You don't play one of those other... Wait, how about the Rolling Stone? I know you play that, right?
I have, but it hasn't been a long time. I would love to either play Oklahoma Mountains or Nicotine for You.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Oklahoma is another great song. And I think that was the second one I heard on your record. Yes, if you can play that, I'd love to hear it. And there's got to be a story behind that one, too.
Oklahoma Mountains I wrote with John Kraft and Matt Wynn. And Matt Wynn and I go back ages. We've been doing cover sets forever. He was one of my first songwriter friends in this town.
Up and down Broadway? You guys do the Broadway thing?
We do the Broadway thing. We do the off-Broadway thing. We've written together for years. He was one of the first people that took me on the road to just go play lakeside places and stuff like that. So love Matt. But Oklahoma Mountains, I have a song called Only Oklahoma also, and I'll never forget Matt McKinney brought me that idea, and he goes, "You're the only Oklahoman I know. Does this mean anything to you?" And I said, I can figure out what that means. So we wrote Only Oklahoma, and Oklahoma Mountains is the same way. I cannot remember if John or Matt came in with the idea, but they said, "Does that mean anything to you?" And I said, well, first off, there are no mountains in Oklahoma.
That's the first thing
none. Exactly. And they go, "Really?" I said, "None." They said, "Oh. So then it doesn't make sense." I said, "It makes perfect sense."
Oh, wow.
And then we wrote this song.
If you listen to the song, it does.
I'm so proud. So this is Oklahoma Mountains.
Awesome.
It goes out to just everyone who came from somewhere. You know what I mean? I sometimes feel like this one's a little pigeonholed for me on relation, but I've played this for people from Idaho that go, "I get it." You know, so I'm hoping that it's. I'm
from Ohio,
and
I get it.
Relatable. Oh, I won't hold that against you, Dave.
It's a good place to be from. Oh, come on.
Amen. 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 Most of my favorite people are Ohioans, actually.
Are they? Aw.
Yes. So this is Oklahoma Mountains. Say home is where the heart is. God, I know that's right. It keeps me up at night, being tangled in these roots, feeling like a phantom at the front door, the threshold of my past. Now I'm scared of coming back, 'cause I'm somewhere in between, holding on and doing all I can to let go. Well, they say there ain't no mountains in Oklahoma. Why the hell I've always had to climb, carrying a shadow things just get heavier with time. I was raised by the rain, copperhead blood in my veins. Of everything I faced, I can't get over those mountains in Oklahoma. The skeleton in that closet, she looks just like me, with shackles on her feet, and they refuse to let her go, feeling like caught in the crossfire of who I am in a memory of who they want me to be. But I'd be lying to myself to say I'm not afraid to fail. They say there ain't no mountains in Oklahoma, so why the hell I've always had to climb, carrying a shadow on my shoulder. Some things just get heavier with time. I was raised by the rain, copperhead blood in my veins. Of everything I faced, I can't get over those mountains in Oklahoma. Well, they say there ain't no mountains in Oklahoma, then why the hell I've always had to climb, carrying a shadow on my shoulder. Some things just get heavier with time. I was raised by the rain, copperhead blood running through my veins. Of everything I faced, I can't get over, but I'd be proud to spend my whole life climbing over those mountains in Oklahoma. Those mountains in Oklahoma.
Oh, I get it. Great. Allie Colleen is our guest on the Songwriter Connection. Mountains in Oklahoma is on her brand new CD, Sincerely Rolling Stone, which is out there streaming everywhere. And it's even available on vinyl?
We did vinyls for the first time. I saw it last week.
I didn't think I could love you anymore.
I saw it last week. I cried.
Oh, my goodness.
I did. They brought it to me last week, and I just looked at it, and I just cried, and I just cried.
Put me down for one.
I would love to. I dedicated them on the bottom of the back. It's dedicated to the cool kids in Little Allie.
Oh, the cool kids. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Very, very proud.
That's really cool. You should be.
Thank
I love
you.
that you do it vinyl. That's great.
Thank you.
Well, listen, I got to take a break. I'm going to come back. We're going to talk more about this great new EP that you've got out there. Folks, stick around.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection with Dave Linehan. Find us on Facebook and YouTube at the Songwriter Connection Podcast. And find Dave at thedaveconnection.com. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
With Allie Colleen, who is just fresh off the big Jelly Roll Beautiful Broken tour and doing so many exciting things. This is a part of the show that I tell you, though, and I did that whole big monologue at the front talking about how we're not a video podcast, and here I am asking you to go to YouTube and press like and subscribe. Why? Because you got to be there, right?
Because you have to.
It's the second largest, search engine on the web.
Absolutely. And if you enjoy this podcast, it will only take you a couple seconds. Dave deserves that. Please go like and subscribe to the YouTube page, you guys. It really helps him more than you could ever understand.
An unsolicited commercial. Man.
Absolutely. It's really tough to advocate for yourself. So if it doesn't help you guys, or if it helps you guys out, go help Dave out, you guys.
God bless you. I love it. I love you. Thank you so much. And I would appreciate it if you do that. I'm just reading about this new, you've got all kinds of great accolades about this record and how personal it is to you. And I'm reading some things, and I wanted to get your comment on it. You said all these songs played a pivotal role in your recent season of growth, and you talked about there's something in here that said growing up. This was a quote from you. I didn't have the luxury of relating to the people around me. I felt very isolated in my world, and maybe people listening are going, "Really? I mean, isolated?" But if you think about it, you understand it, don't you? I mean, you probably had very little privacy growing up, did you?
I had very, very little privacy growing up. And then outside of my two siblings, I didn't have interactions with kids my age. I'm the youngest of three.
No play dates and things like that?
Right. Not with kids our age. They were usually like a 30 or 40-year-old intern who was super nice. You know what I mean? Who wanted to hang out with us. But, so I was lucky enough. I was the youngest of three. So I went to first grade like everyone else. My siblings were homeschooled way later than that. I went to first grade. So I had children in my life. But we didn't have the same memories. You know what I mean? We didn't even have the same anything. And then my parents were so adamant about trying to raise us normal, which is a crazy thing to define anyway. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, what's normal?
In their brain, in my parents' brain, you know, their parents didn't miss sporting events, you know, and their parents didn't miss, you know, getting to be a part of those things. And then also, you know, maybe they went to school with everybody else. So all of those things were important to my family. Education was really important to my family. So I don't remember my parents ever missing a sports game or anything like that. They never missed a soccer game of mine.
Isn't that
Nothing.
Awesome? Yeah.
But all my friends got to leave after the soccer game. And I got to sit there and look for clovers for 3 to 4 hours while my dad was kind enough to speak to everybody at the soccer park, you know? And my parents were also very worried about our safety growing up for a lot of different reasons. So we didn't have the luxury of going over to a friend's house. We didn't do that in my family. I didn't have very many childhood memories that, you know, my friends had. My friends all knew what pizza parties were. I didn't know what a pizza party was, but I knew what getting ready for a red carpet looked like, you know? So I didn't have a lot of interactions when I was younger that I felt like I could relate to people. So it wasn't until I started writing. I mean, I've been writing songs since I was 8 years old.
Have you really?
And a lot of that is because I didn't know how to communicate big feelings or share experiences with people that weren't just immediately kind of discounted, you know, like, so I started writing songs, you know, and and everyone relates to that, you know, even if they've gone through what you've gone through or not.
When did you learn how to play guitar?
I didn't learn how to play guitar until I was 13 or 14.
Really?
So I would just like ask people if I could sing for them. And they, of course, I'm 8. They'd be like, sure, sweetie, like go for it. You know, and I'd sing to them and they'd be like, well, you do write that? I'm like, yeah. And it wasn't until I was 14 and had the guitar and could go, can I play you something? Where I think people were really finally, you know, comfortable with absorbing that from me. And because of that, I've played music as a job since I was 15.
Since you were 15. About that. There's some experience.
My first job was at the barbecue shop that I worked at. I was a waitress, and then I would play there on the weekends. I was 15, but I was the youngest of 3 kids, so everybody else was out of the house. Yeah, so my parents would still take me to work. I didn't have to, so I could get a job before I had my license and everything. Yeah. So I did. I've been working there, and my first thing was I could play for 3 hours unamplified, and I could have free dinner. I said, deal, I'm in.
Deal.
And then
I work for food,
started bringing, I know, and then I started bringing people in, and he said, okay, well, you know, and he started handing me maybe $60 at the end of my night. And I said, this is that. And I was so excited. And then it moved into, you know, $100 a night or whatever, and you still get dinner. I said, let's go. And I just played unamplified in this little barbecue shop, and I love it. And last time I went home, I just went in to see him at Trails Inn and everything, and then they're all still there. Barbecue shop's still there, same size, everything. Awesome. And ever since then, he has young, like aspiring musicians in town come play there. So ever since I left, now people get to play at Trails Inn. So he's also championing other really young babies who want to play music and stuff.
That's so great.
So that was really,
great
really
guy.
cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yes. Now, you know, after this bit, now you go from there all the way up to these huge stadium shows with Jelly Roll. Do you ever like yearn to just go back to that small, intimate thing, you and a guitar, unplugged? No. Just every now and then, just to.
I only say that because I'll never forget one of the first posts I made of the Jelly tour. Made the post, and then one of my buddies from like downtown Broadway commented and goes, "Can you imagine going back to Broadway after that?" And I commented back. I said, "Doc, I'm scheduled. I will be right back in January. I will see you there." And so like I still play the 3-hour downtown sets in Broadway. I still do. So I'm not yearning for it yet, buddy. I'm still in it. I'm still in it. I'm still playing on Instagram Live at night for no reason. You know what I mean? I'm still in it. So I don't yearn for
Instagram Live, huh? People can find you there. Check it out.
It's going to be big.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Still in it. Yeah. Do you do writers' rounds too?
I do writers' rounds, yeah. I love to.
Like
It's funny, I'm not getting asked to do them as much because everyone thinks I'm too big for them now.
Oh, well,
they're like, Allie, would you ever? I'm like, I'm free most evenings. Yes, I would love to. So I still get to do the writers' rounds.
Don't threaten me with a good time, because I'll pull you. I do a lot of those. You play the Bluebird though, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think of that?
The Bluebird's always an honor.
That's got to be a special feeling.
I don't know which one I like more, when they place you in the middle of the room or when they place you on the stage.
We talked about that.
I don't know which one I like
on
more.
a show not too long ago. The last time I played it was on the stage, and it was a cramped stage because they had to put a piano up there.
Yeah.
And so we were like all on top of each other.
Yeah.
Playing. What I don't like about that is because you're staring right at Chris Christopherson, and that's kind of like intimidating. That big portrait of him.
Right.
In the round, though, it seems a little more intimate, doesn't it? People are all around you. But the thing I don't like about it is I can't see everybody.
I really like the round. It's funny that I feel like, and they do a really good job to place the people who came to see you across from you. So you like to think that your back isn't to anyone who came to you, but it probably is.
It probably is, yeah.
But I know as a patron, as someone who likes to go there, I really like to be in the audience when they're in the round.
You like that better?
I like that. Yeah.
It is. It does. It seems more
cool.
intimate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And does it run through your mind? Because they tell the story all the time. You don't loop it. Art Brooks signed his deal here and the whole thing. Does that run through your mind? And they talk about, Taylor Swift. Yeah.
It only runs my mind in the sense of maybe being a little jaded, like, that ain't happening no more. No one's getting signed to the Bluebird anymore. You know what I mean? No one's getting signed on Broadway anymore. None of that's happening. So that one kind of jadeds me a little bit. I'm like, anyone here tonight going to sign me? No? Okay, cool.
Music business changed so much.
Yeah.
I mean, so much.
Yeah.
And some for the good and some for the bad. But, I mean, one of the things you told me, and I've always taken this with me, and after our first conversation, I joined TikTok because I remember you saying, I said, where do you find your new music today? And you go, music's out there. And you said, I like the TikTok kids.
I do.
And so I've been spending a lot of time, and I do too. Yeah.
I like the TikTok kids.
Yeah.
And I really like the ones that are popping off for something that would never be radio.
Yeah.
Which is going to be tough, for them, like seeing whatever the involvement is from that. But man, oh man, I like the TikTok kids.
Yeah.
I'm blown away by the courage, to be honest. Because everyone's giving them a lot of hell right now, because then they get signed and they go on tour and they've never even experienced a small show, unless a big one, and they're not handling it very well mentally. But that's a lot to expect someone to do.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, the courage of it has never been blindsided. Like, it's never been blindsiding to me to receive a hateful comment. You know what I mean? Or to receive a hateful DM, because my parents kept us off social media for so long for that reason. They were so scared everyone was just going to be mean to us. So, these kids are bold. Yeah. I just think they're so courageous, and I think they're really bold, and I hope they keep those guns with them when they're given opportunities.
Me too.
I'm proud of them. I think it's very cool.
Yeah. What do you do when you get that occasional negative comment?
It depends on where on where and how it comes. If it's a DM, if it's something sent directly to me, you will never receive my attention ever for that. I'll never comment you back. I'm not even going to screenshot it and put it on my story to go make people say rude things to you. That's crazy. You'll never receive attention from me for that.
Exactly.
So that is something that I just have to acknowledge is absolutely an issue on their part. Not me.
Your problem, it's their problem.
Now, when people like to comment really rude things on like a post or something, you just sit back, baby. You just sit back and you just wait on all of Allie's moms to go get them. There is blood in my comments right now, and it ain't mine. You know what I mean?
Have to lift a thumb or a finger.
As soon as someone is mean, I've got hundreds of people advocating for me, going, "Why'd you even comment this?" You know what I mean?
Great.
Like, so you'll never get attention from me, but you will. You might get your butt chewed out a little bit by a couple people that love me,
and that feels good.
And for anyone, this is my one thing in person. If anyone ever cuts you down in person or says anything really rude to you in person, just ask them to repeat themselves. I guarantee you they will not.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 100,000 ways, I feel like, to let somebody know, like, you don't get to mess with me without being hateful.
Wow.
And I've never had someone say something rude to me where I said, I'm worried I misunderstood what you said. Will you clarify that for me? And they always go, I was just trying to be silly or something. They'll never repeat themselves because they know what they said was stupid.
Yeah.
So I'll just say, if y'all are looking for a little backbone, that's my advice to you guys. Ask them to repeat themselves.
If you ever did you watch Suits? Did you get into that? The streaming Suits?
I know what you're talking about, but no, I haven't seen it. Like,
Whenever
watched
somebody
it.
said
Bev's
nasty
watched
to the
it.
lead guy, he'd always go, "What did you say?" He'd always
Repeat it back to me,
What
buddy.
did you say? Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Because if you do repeat it back to me, you will get my first initial reaction. But at least you don't get to talk me out of it this time. You know what I mean?
love that.
If you repeat yourself verbatim, I go, oh, my response was appropriate. Whatever it is. You know what I mean? You deserved that.
Yeah.
Most people don't. They back down pretty quick. They fix themselves.
That's pretty cool.
People
They
are
fix
crazy.
themselves.
They do.
Yeah. Going back to the tour, did you have to do a lot of radio interviews before the shows and things? Did you have to do the radio tour thing?
Not too much. I wish I could have, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah.
I would have been absolutely honored if we could have, but I feel like Bev and I did it as best job as we could, inviting outlets ourselves to come out, and to do it. We did a couple interviews even like after the merch line kind of thing was fun.
Oh,
like to
that's
have
cool.
outlets come and watch us work the way that we work.
Yeah.
Because Beverly and I sold our merch every single night on
Did you?
the arena tour.
Did
That was
you
the
really?
only way we made anything, man, was Bev and I going out and selling our own merch for those arena tours.
That's interesting.
So I sold them every night. We'd have a couple hours every night that we would sell. And it'd be busy the whole time, and it was so kind. So that was some stuff that we got to do for the tour. That was really special.
Did you get to sell music like CDs and no, just mostly like tattoos? And
We could only sell soft merch. And
Soft
so
merch.
for anyone listening, what that means is hard merch generates income outside of the sale. So like a CD generates royalties outside of the sale. You know what I
Okay.
mean? For everybody else.
Right.
Vinyls would do the same thing, anything like that would. But t-shirts that like you just pay the money, I get that money, that's it, period. That's all soft merchandise.
Soft
so we
merch.
were able to sell 2 items of soft merchandise.
Learned something new today.
And we had to price match jelly, which is staple for every tour. But what that means, you guys, is my hoodies were $90 for the first time ever. You gonna buy a $90 tour for me, Dave? I'm not. You know what I mean? That's crazy. I couldn't even afford the jelly ticket, nonetheless, that much merchandise either. So we learned a lot, but it was very cool. So anyone who did buy anything from us on the jelly tour, thank you. Thank you so much. That was
Big
crazy.
thanks.
Yeah.
Big open art. Yeah. And t-shirts, of course, right? Big, still big, really big.
$45.
$45. That's what Jelly sold his from, and you
Yes.
can't undercut him. Well, kind of makes sense.
Yeah, of course. It makes perfect sense. It really does. And when you're the headliner, you get to make those calls.
You do.
One day I'll make those calls,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
one day you will.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
So no, we were very happy to do all of those things and learn those things and to, hopefully do them the right way.
That's cool. Yeah.
it was
How much
cool.
fun. How much fun was that? Listen, Nicotine is a cool song on that record, and I want to hear the story behind that, and tuck you into playing a little bit. Playing that song, 'cause I love that
to.
song.
I would love to. Something I would like you guys to think about when we play it is, I am just as much of a visual person as I am texture when it comes to sound.
Yeah.
So like for me, like if I'm going to go to a concert, it's going to be a textured show. So it's going to be like a pop punk show or something that has like a lot of like subs to it that you can feel with your body. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I'm a texture person.
Gotcha.
So all that to say, a lot of that went into consideration with the Sincerely project, especially with songs like Household Name has a lot of texture to it. And then Nicotine never leaves a single cigarette. So it's 3 minutes, just a little bit over 3 minutes. And the whole verse, sonically, is just you getting outside. It's just you getting outside, getting to that quiet space and fumbling in your pockets and getting it out and getting it to your lips. Like that's the topography of the verses. And then the chorus is the cherry the whole time. You know what I mean? Like that whole chorus is just that inhale of that fix that you need. And so the whole song, if you listen to Nicotine and you're a smoker, I hope you're not, because it's 2025 and that's nasty, you guys. It's so bad for you. But in case you got like something else you would also smoke, go outside, spend 3 minutes listening to Nicotine, and it follows that cigarette. The whole thing does. But Megan brought in the idea.
Really?
She did what Megan always does and goes, I have an idea. I don't know if it's good or not, but my hook is nicotine in the nick of time.
Wow.
And Lockwood and I go, that'll do. I'm sure we can make that into something.
Sure.
And so we talked about it a lot before we started. But I just said, hey, you guys, for me, if you'd allow me to kind of run with this one, I love the idea. And for me, it's just everybody has a vice, And so I think we just give them 3 minutes to maybe explore that vice without shame, And so for me, Nicotine is 3 minutes to acknowledge a vice without shame. I would love to play a little bit of it
So
for
deep.
you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
But think about,
Again, live. So I love hearing the songs live around the dining room table. That's what we do.
I love playing them I do sometimes wish I would like bring a player with me to play something like Household Name or something like that I've never actually played myself. And I would really be able to sing it. But I love playing these things. So this is Nicotine. And again, just think about the landscape.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm there.
Also, just in the vein of sincerity, you know, we talked about While We're Still Friends, and that came out of a season of divorce for me.
Yeah.
And there's a song on this EP called Grass on the Grave,
Yeah.
which was kind of the only acknowledgement that we were going to put towards that season. I said, we're not going to do a divorce album, you guys. We're doing the Lee song, and then we're doing Grass on the Grave to show that things get better, and you're going to be all right, and move on.
Yeah.
So Nicotine was also my first time in the vein of sincerity, sharing that new lifestyle, you know, where I don't have a partner anymore, and I haven't since I had one. So Nicotine is also, I feel like it's very commercial to some people, but it made the Sincerely project to me because it makes me feel very exposed. You know, it just does.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the last song on the EP, isn't it?
It is. And it's on the vinyl, they all stay on one side because I needed you to cohesively listen top to bottom and end on the ring out that Nicotine has. Because you know how it ends completely a cappella and it's just me? So it all ends there. And then there's a bonus audio on the opposite side.
Oh.
And the only way you'll ever know what it is if you get that vinyl.
I love that idea. That's a great idea.
Could be a demo, could be just a voice message, could be an unreleased song, it could be any of those things. But so that is the encouragement of the vinyls, is that 6th audio. But
Gotta have one.
This is Nicotine. So this is the final track of the EP. This is kind of what I leave you with. We can talk about the weather. You can tell me where you're from. If it makes you feel better. We both know what's going on. I'll make you think I think you're funny. And I'll touch your arm when I laugh. I'll be whatever you want me to be, long as there's whiskey in my glass. And I'll press you to my lips, and I'll breathe you in, craving any kind of fix, anything but calling him. Oh, and just when I think I can't get by, you're my nicotine in the nick of time. Ain't always healing. Right now, God, I'm needing a slow burn to get me through the night. And I'll press you to my lips, and I'll breathe you in, craving any kind of fix, anything but calling him. Oh, and just when I think I can't get by, you're my nicotine in the nick of time. Oh, and just when I think I can't get by, you're my nicotine in the nick of time.
Wow. Can I just say, Megan, you're listening? Great idea.
Great idea, Megan.
You guys nailed it.
Lockwood does it in a much different way, and it's very cool. Like to hear Lockwood play Nicotine.
I like to hear
because she does it how she would do it, you know.
And you know, we've talked about this before. Sometimes with co-writers, you know, we have a song out there that there's at least 4 different versions, and we all play it differently.
Of course.
And it's been cut 3 times, all differently. Songs have a life of their own, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of times when you look at the lyric sheet on the document between all of the writers, you'll have 4 lines for this one line.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, listen, when we wrote it, we weren't hard pressed on who was going to sing it.
Yeah.
So like if this one's mine, I'm hell bent on the line being this.
I
You know what I
gotcha.
mean? But if Lockwood wants to sing it,
'Cause you're all
she's
artists,
hell bent
too.
on the line being this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's also a lot of ways like that too, or even like the storylines can be different within
Yeah.
the same song.
want to talk mechanics real quick. A couple of things. One on Oklahoma and one on the one you just played. I love how the second verse going into the bridge, it's like it goes right into it. There's no rest. That last line, boom.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting technique. I have a co-writer that loves to do that. And maybe you can explain the idea behind that.
A couple thoughts. One, absolutely respectfully speaking, your writer might have ADHD. You know what I mean? And they might be bored by the time that a bridge comes back around.
Yeah.
And so they just want to catch your ear, right? Gotcha. You know what I mean? Because sometimes by that time, you already know, especially if you're formulated in songs, like how you and I are, even if we weren't artists, we're formulated in songs. You know what I mean? We love songs. We consume them. We love them. Yeah. So I'll let it say, even if you're just a listener, the world doesn't survive without listeners. But even if you're a listener, sometimes you're already like, oh, they're going to double the chorus. Cool. You know what I mean? Like towards the end. And I think that's when you take that bridge moment to just slap it on the end of your chorus and be like, come back, like focus, like listen. And I say that jokingly just as much as I say it very seriously. We get bored of our own songs when we write them. You know what I mean? So sometimes when it comes to the bridge, it's like we have to do something new for even me here, you know? That's usually the case. The only thing else for me is I can think of a song that I also wrote with Megan and Lockwood that jumps right into that bridge that way. And that one was because it was just the first time that you're going to add a new thought to something you've already said. So like for Nicotine also, for example, it's like... you're my nicotine in the nick of time. Time ain't always healing. You know what I mean? And it doesn't even say time twice. It carries it on because it's the first time that you're going to redefine time differently. You know? Because the whole rest of the song, your time is your quick fix. And then all of a sudden, the bridge, you learn time is the last thing that's going to help you with this. You know what I mean? Cool? So I think that's a big reason why we did it. But as far as why songwriters do it, that's always an interesting thought.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I love that. And that really caught my attention. The other thing, too, we were talking about, sometimes we talk about near rhymes and the power of a near rhyme. And the reason why I did work for a publisher once who said, it's got to be a proper rhyme.
Of course.
It's got to be a perfect rhyme. And I'd always I tend to disagree because great songs to me have a surprise factor. It's like telling a joke, right? If you could get them thinking in one direction, pull the rug out, it's got more impact.
Absolutely.
Way. And that's what makes things funny, I think. But interesting to me is if I don't see it coming, if I don't see that coming, I hate sitting around, and maybe you do too, where you could predict the line.
Oh, you know the next line.
You know the
easy
next line.
Peasy, yeah.
Yeah. You know.
I'd be surprised if it's just the rhyme too. You know, usually you know the whole line.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
do.
like, I know where you're going.
I know where you're going. Heart and apart, yeah.
We get it.
But like in Mountains of Oklahoma, the line before that hook was over. I get over. And you know what? That's not a perfect rhyme. But it works. It's so clever.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the whole line. So it's, no matter what I do, I can't get over those mountains in Oklahoma. Is there an internal in the rhyme before it? I don't think there is. I think they're supposed to stand alone on their own. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that too. And then I love this town's definition of perfect rhymes, you know, because perfect rhymes would be fact and I just picked a hard one, I feel like. But
track.
But that's what I'm saying. Those aren't perfect rhymes.
They're not.
Because it's only the A that is the same. It's not the CT. A perfect rhyme would be like can and tan. Because it has all of the consonants the same too. So you tell those publishers, you make them define that perfect rhyme for you before they ask you for one. Because usually they're not even on it.
Well, you know, and I think in terms like, what I'll throw in the rhyme, I'll say, listen, we're looking for a rhyme.
Yeah.
I don't care about those consonants at the end. We're rhyming the vowel. You know,
my Roman Empire of near rhymes is what Lee and I and Sarah did, and while we're still friends, and we rhymed Austin and concert.
Yeah, I remember. Yes, and it worked.
It was so bad, but it does work.
I think we talked about that in the last episode.
But it does work.
It really does.
It's funny. Sometimes you'll have coworkers. Sometimes you'll have co-writers with accents.
Yeah.
And it'll rhyme when you say it,
Yeah.
but it will not rhyme when I sing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have one of my best friends, Kelly Johnson. She's from Alabama, and she'll rhyme flowers and tires. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because it's
tires,
flowers and tires, and I'm
Yeah,
like, it
sure.
couldn't be more different when I sing it, buddy. That ain't
Me
gonna
neither.
work. So I also do like that version of rhyming too. That has to do with a little bit of your draw. I like
I have that Midwestern Cleveland accent with the tires. Tires. And flowers. Not even close. Right. Good. Hey, I always enjoyed talking. Do you want to play one more song, or were you ready for one, or not? It's okay. It's
I
up
would
to you.
love to.
It's
I
your
really
show.
would.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything with it, but it's unreleased. Can I play you something
I
new?
would love to hear something new unreleased.
You know us, how music goes. New music is old music to us. I've listened to this EP hundreds of thousands of times. You know what I mean? So I'd love to play something new. I thought that this EP would be the channel that Allie got to kind of get something out of her system and get rid of these songs that she doesn't consider commercial, and then we can really focus on a commercial single afterwards. It did the opposite. Now I just want to write the whole next project by myself because I've never done a solo project as a writer.
That's good.
I write by myself a lot, but they're always really wonky things that I don't feel like anyone relates to, so I never use them.
Yeah.
And so I would really love to do the whole next project. And
that's cool.
I've been missing my mama lately. So I wanted to play this one today, and I think it's a song that everybody needs or nobody wants, because the feeling that I receive from the song is just as uncomfortable as it is like, oh, I needed that. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the title because I don't want to give away the hook or anything, but it's just a little honest song for anyone who maybe lives away from their people. It doesn't even have to be, your family, but if you live in a different state than your people, this one's one for me. I wrote this around this time last year. My papa had just passed away, and I felt like I was needed at home, but I didn't want to go home. You know what I mean? I didn't want to go home and deal with all of those things, and I just wanted to grieve in my own way. I didn't want to go grieve with my family, and I was being a little selfish, and so I wrote this song. And again, I just hope it means something to somebody. And if I don't ever do anything with this song, then it was meant for whoever hears it today at this moment in time. I got you. But I hope we do something with it. It's been a few weeks. I know that I should have reached out by now. Tell me, how was your day? Is Grandma okay? I heard spring was coming late. You say Dad's on your nerves. That makes me smile. I don't know when I'll have time, but yeah, sure, I'll check for lights. I miss you more, but I'm not okay, and I'm scared I'll break. Drowning in laundry, haven't showered in days, been thinking about leaving. I'm so ashamed, and I've tried so hard to be happy, and I know you worry about me, so I don't say anything at all. Just, I'm so glad you called. I love you, Mom. Everyone was right. You can't get back time. When all of those years, all I had to fear was a burnout nightlight. And I'd do anything to crawl back in that bunk bed. I'm still scared of my closet, and I feel forgotten, living my dreams. But I'm not okay, and I'm scared I'll break. Drowning in laundry, haven't showered in days, thinking about leaving. I'm so ashamed, and I've tried so damn hard to be happy, and I know you always worry about me, so I don't say anything at all. But I'm so glad you called. I love you, Mom. know that I should have reached out by now.
Got to ask, has Mom heard that? Have you played that for her? No.
I don't know that I would.
Wow. Hit me pretty hard. Songs are a conversation, and this song is a conversation. You just can't hear the person on the other end.
I know.
That is such a cool concept.
I love it, and I think we're all so much like that. I spent so much time as a kid leaning on my parents for support, and
Me too.
And then you get older and you think that you're supposed to maybe outgrow that or something.
You never do.
And I'm not a parent. I know that that's what they would say to me.
I know they would.
But it does. You feel overwhelming sometimes and you just feel like a thing.
I know.
And, between me and my other siblings, I'm the best off. You know what I mean? They're crazy. So I feel like my parents have their hands full with them too. So I don't want to worry about me. But man, oh man, I love that song. And I love how I feel when I sing it just as much as it kind of aches me out a little bit.
Well, I just recently lost my mom, so I could really
Did
identify
you?
with that song.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I wish I could pick up the phone and
I know.
have that conversation,
Yeah.
So. Allie, thank you for joining us. Love you, girl. I love what you're
I
doing.
love you too. I'll take you up on those rounds, dog.
Oh, man, I'll get you in one or
Have
two
me.
or three.
Have me.
Absolutely. Don't threaten me with a good time.
I always enjoy it. Thank you so much. We have a lot of memories of this podcast that are good. The first time I came over, we brought a bird with us.
I remember that.
Remember? And then Bev couldn't make the second time, and then now here we are today, and Bev's got headphones on. What do you think is going to happen next time?
We're going to get a microphone for her next time. Absolutely.
I really enjoy it, Dave. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Allie. All the best. And folks listening, thank you for tuning in. And right on. WRIT.
We hope you enjoyed this intimate glimpse into the world of songwriting and found inspiration in the stories shared by our talented guests. Remember, the magic of music lies not only in the notes and chords, but in the emotions and experiences woven into every lyric. Until next time, keep listening, keep creating, and keep the melodies alive.